All right, starting off the prep spotlight, we have one of the real fine head coaches in our area talking about football, and he has a fairly big game coming up this Friday night at Mark O'Donnell Field in Elsie. It's the Ovid-Elsie head coach, Travis Long. First of all, Travis, thanks for joining us again. We appreciate it, and I know we're butting into your preparation for that big game. Why don't you set the stage for us from the Ovid-Elsie perspective on what we're going to see there Friday night?
Well, first off, thanks for having me. Appreciate you guys. I know you guys do a great job covering the area and high school sports. It's a great thing for kids and families and stuff like that. So, to answer your question, we've been having this game kind of marked on our calendar, since last season, and boys have been working hard. We had a quick little install practice today, and then tomorrow we're going to get after it. So what you're going to see is, what you usually get from Ovid-Elsie. We like to run the ball and take our shots when we have it and play really good defense. So same old, same old.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big one too, because you made it to the semis last year, and you guys basically since 2005, Ovid-Elsie's been making the playoffs for the most part every season. It seems like when you look back on the history, there's only a couple seasons in there where Ovid-Elsie didn't make the playoffs. And not that this game Friday against Chesaning, not that it will define this season, but do you kind of see this as a measuring stick? You made a run to the semis last year, and you probably have those same goals this year. But are you going to see how you stack up against Chesaning and use this as like a measuring stick on what you guys can work on or build on for the rest of this season?
Yeah, I guess going into this season, we looked at the second half of our season got a lot tougher, starting with Durand and then Montrose and Bertrand gave us all they had, and we knew that Chesaning, Lothrop, and even Standish are going to be big games. So we kind of knew going in that these were going to be our kind of measuring stick games. And each week, we've been preaching to the kids that, competition is going to get a little bit tougher this week. So we got to be prepared. So got a good group of young men that have bought into our system, our culture. And, last year was a pleasant surprise of going that far, making it to semis. And this year they've set some lofty goals. So, and to be honest with you, they've earned everything. We got guys that come in the off season, guys that have bought in the summer, the weight room, they've done the little things, things that, even us coaches, during the spring and summer, they'd be out there on the field working on their own because we had limited, guys we could work with. So it's been fun the last 2-3 years of, Marauder football, and we hope to carry that torch on.
You mentioned kind of keeping your team focused, week by week. I was doing a little bit of reading. I saw that you guys pull some inspiration. Your big motto for this year is actually from Lou Holtz. What is that motto, and what is the message you try to kind of instill in your team week by week?
Yeah, so our motto this year is WIN, which stands for what's important now. And I try to give the guys something to, carry with them throughout the season. So early on in the spring, we have a big team meeting over Google Meet, and we give them a theme for the year. And this year is that Lou Holtz, what's important now. So it kind of prioritizes your time,
right?
And I kind of use it. Hey, we can use this in the classroom. You can use this at home. If you got to do the dishes, make your bed, mow the lawn, what's important now. We got to keep our parents happy and do the right thing. So when they're out in Joe Public and they have a decision to make, it's, what's important now. You got other people that are watching. You got, you're representing your family, you're representing your team, your school. So I think the guys have bought into that, and it's looked pretty good so far.
That's really good to hear that. And most of our really good coaches around have kind of the same philosophy. And, a coach or a teacher, they're kind of a surrogate parent. So you're teaching the right things, and that's really good to hear. But I want to talk a little bit about, teams that go far, teams that are successful have great seniors and senior leadership. And, I'll start with the guy we talk about every single week, Trace Tokar. But
Yeah.
then some of your other seniors, talk a little bit about them and, how much they mean to this team and the success moving forward.
Yeah. So obviously, everybody starts with Trice. He's that dynamic player that not only makes plays on the offensive side of the ball, but defensively, he's our best tackler. He's a safety that'll come up and support the run game, but also make plays in the pass game. So he's just a dynamic kid. Never had a competitor like him that will take every inch of what he can do and apply that into winning that ball game. But as far as what's that?
I was going to say ultimate coachable player, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yep. They're all coachable. This senior group, I take a look at our offensive lineman with Jake Bowen, who was an all-stater last year at tackle. He's played a huge role, not only, offensively, but defensively well. He's been our best defensive tackle. So he's making plays that he didn't a year ago. And Joe Bancroft has played center. Dawson Taylor didn't play last year because of a back injury, and he's played guard. We got Javen Belil, who's just a solid linebacker who just makes plays. I think he's at almost 80 tackles already. And then there's Clayton Frucci, who is just a Mr. Consistent running the ball. He's good in the run game, but he also we spread him out a little bit and get him into the pass game. So, there's other seniors that, Ben Wilds, who's stepped up as a senior. It's always good to see as a coach how a junior who might not quite get it just shines as a senior. He
figures it out.
The light switch is turned on, and so we got a few of those that have been pretty good. So
it's always got to be a feeling like you can see the potential in some of those, maybe even down freshman, sophomore, but yeah, the juniors. And then it gets to a point where it's on them. You can coach them up all you want and all that kind of stuff. But at some point, like you said, the light switch has to go on with them. And when it does, that has to be a very rewarding thing for a coach. I talked about a measuring stick with Chesaning.
Mm-hmm.
We obviously, we do cover mostly mid-Michigan and when we talk about the prep spotlight. How cool is it for you as a coach, and how does it maybe help your guys push themselves when there are those other teams in the area that are really good? I mean, right now there's a good stretch of football in mid-Michigan. Durand, obviously Corona. I know you don't play all these teams all the time, but Corona's been good. Durand, you guys, of course, New Lothrop, obviously they're trying to keep their playoff streak alive this season. There's just a collection of some really good football teams in mid-Michigan. Does that help you guys kind of push yourself? Because if you want to win your conference, if you want to, make a little run in the playoffs, you've got to beat these teams.
Absolutely. You keep an eye on each school as you go the season and take a look at their win-loss record, and you get tons of film on them from scouting and stuff like that. So each week, and the kids play all these kids in other sports too,
right.
Basketball and baseball, and so there's a rivalry in just about every sport. So it's kind of fun. I like basketball season, going to games and seeing these guys compete against other kids, and it's a great time. It's a great time to be in mid-Michigan football for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Especially this upcoming Friday night. I mean, it's going to be an all-time classic game. Both sides have probably been looking forward to this one really before the season even got underway. How do you kind of balance as a head coach, getting your team extra excited for this big-time game, but also trying to convince them, hey, it's just another week? And what was maybe your opening message to your team? I know it's just been Monday, to your team this week heading into this Friday's big-time game.
Well, I guess, every week I kind of read the kids a passage, and one of the lines in the passage, it's called A Football Player. One of the lines is simple game with simple rules. And, we try to, with our theme win, what's important now is tomorrow's practice. So we're focused completely on that. And I think the guys have done a great job of buying into that.
Got one final question for you, Coach, before we let you go. we've been talking about the big matchup coming up this week. We had Coach Walter on earlier this season, and he opened some eyes up all year long. But last week with that 50-0 win over Montrose, that opened eyes up all around the state. But what do you have to do? What do the Marauders have to do, or to pick up the win? I guess is what I would say.
Yeah, I think we have to just play really good defense like we have all year. They got a dynamic group of athletes on the offensive side of the ball, with their tailback and their quarterback is pretty heady. So we got to play sound fundamental defense, and then we got to be able to run the ball effectively. So our offensive line has to really step up, and our backs have to carry the load. And then, when we have opportunities in the pass game, we gotta make our play. We got to make that play and let it roll and see how it goes.
Well, it's going to be a good one. That's for sure. And, better get there early, folks, because there's not going to be much room. It's going to be lined up around O'Donnell Field there. It's going to be a tremendous atmosphere for a high school football game. We want to wish you the best of luck, Coach, and we'll check in with you down the road. Good luck.
Hey, thanks, guys. Appreciate you. And go Tigers.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, go Tigers.
Jacobs Insurance Agency has served Shiawassee County and the surrounding areas since 1977. Just like 3 Point Podcast, we've had 3 generations: Gary Jacobs Sr., Gary Jacobs II, Brian Jacobs, and myself, Noah Jacobs, serving our community with offices in Waterford and Owasso on M21, just west of Home Depot. Stop in or go online to jacobsinsurance.com to get a quote or get your questions answered by our team. Jacobs Insurance is a proud supporter of our local schools and the proud sponsor of the Prep Spotlight. Insure everything, local, independent, and trusted. It's our family working together to protect yours. That's the Jacobs way.
All right, guys, good stuff there by head coach Travis Long of the undefeated Ovid-Elsie Marauders. We talked about the undefeated Chesaning Indians traveling over to Elsie. They downed Montrose 50-0. Brady Sager, 4 TDs. Quarterback Matt Volk, 9 of 11, 150 yards, 3 touchdown passes. It's an impressive Chesaning team. Ovid-Elsie is going to have their hands full. They're fortunate they have the home field advantage, so it should be a battle for sure. As I mentioned, Ovid-Elsie comes in undefeated. They downed Birch Run 30-14. Our guy, Trace Tokar, 2 touchdowns. Mike Bancroft, a 39-yard interception return for a touchdown. In some of the other games, you'll like this one, Matt. Perry over Dansville, 38-6 in their homecoming. Sophomore quarterback Tiger Whitback passed for 205 yards and a couple of touchdowns. And your nephew Brady, homecoming king. How about that?
Oh, nice.
Homecoming king. I know he was excited, and his date won the homecoming queen as well.
Holy cow.
So,
that's gold all the way.
It's a big deal right there. So, yeah, they picked up their first win too. So, all around. I mean, homecoming weekend, if you can get your win and then have a great time at the dance, it's a win.
It's great. Yeah, and
it's awesome. They're riding high right now. And that's like, you talk about all-American, weekend, homecoming king, win the big game, go to the dance the next day. I mean, I'm jealous of them. That was awesome.
Those are great times in life, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I barely can remember those days. Also, a few other scores. Morris over Weberville, 58-0. The O's improved to 5-1. And 8-man is Wyatt Valentine, who's having an all-state type of year. 201 yards and 5 touchdowns in that one. Game of the week last week on the Castle turned out to be the game of the week. Brandon over Owasso, 54-47, 101 points scored in a 7-point contest. Hoyt Patrick, I'm going to tell you guys right now, watching this kid play, he's a stud. I mean, he can play some small college football, maybe possibly even a Division II as a safety or something. He is the real deal. He had 217 yards, 4 touchdowns on the ground. His brother Liam, the quarterback, 162 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns. The game, though, was, I don't know what to say about it, but there was over 15 penalties in that game that really slowed things down, but still a good performance. And then our Corunna Cavaliers took it on the chin to the tough Goodrich Martian team, 42-7. The loss ends the Cavs' 14-game regular season win streak. Corunna's only score came on an 11-yard pass from Caden Cowdery to Dane Zeman. 0-6 Clio up next for the Cavaliers. But you did mention, Jared, briefly that maybe that score was a little bit deceptive.
Yeah, it definitely was. I mean, Goodrich, I would say, is a tough test for Corunna for any team, really, outside of maybe Frankenmuth, who the Cavaliers might end up seeing in the playoffs. But, it was a 7-0 ball game. A couple plays near the end of that first half really swung it, made it 14-0 at halftime, and then Corunna had a costly interception in their own territory that kind of made it all she wrote. But
Yeah.
no, I don't think that's a 42-7 game if you play it 10 times. You know, maybe Goodrich wins the majority of them, but I think it was a little bit closer than what the score read.
All right. Well, that was the Prep Spotlight presented by the Jacobs Insurance Agency, local, independent, and trusted. And we appreciate their sponsorship. Well, we'll talk a little sports, little college and pro sports right after this message.